McGraw-Hill Ascent Audio presents Sell Yourself, How to Create, Live, and Sell a Powerful Personal Brand by Cindy McGovern. Narrated by Cindy McGovern. This book is dedicated to you. Yes, you. I hope it helps you create, live, and sell your best self. Dr. Cindy. Introduction. Personal branding is something people talk about when they refer to curating a social media persona or stepping into a job search for the first time. It's a question a career counselor or even a friend might ask you. What's your brand? It's something we answer with just a few words. Poised and professional, smart and sassy, loud and proud, laid back, fashion forward. Most personal branding books will help you arrive at that sort of branding elevator pitch. That's a useful exercise for sure. But it's just a tiny step toward creating a brand that will help you sell yourself. This book, Sell Yourself, will take you the rest of the way. The fact is that your personal brand isn't a catchphrase. Say you come up with a personal brand you're happy with, but all you know is how you would like others to describe you. Chances are pretty good in that case that you don't really know what your personal brand is at all, but everyone else does. And if you've never felt the need to create a personal brand for yourself, you might believe that you don't have a brand or that you don't even need one. But here's the problem with that. You do have a personal brand, and everyone knows what it is, except for you. Whether you've taken the time to plan a personal brand or not, you still make an impression on others. When you do, they form an opinion about you. In that moment, they determine for themselves what your personal brand is. If you have a pithy one-liner that you use to describe your brand, but you don't live up to it every single day, that's not your brand. The impression you make on others is your brand. Lesson learned. Let me share something I learned from personal experience as well as from working with thousands of people, both experienced and very young. A personal brand is as complicated and multifaceted as you are. It's not something you just say. It's who you are. Your personal brand is you. Or at least it's who and what and how others think you are. Your personal brand is how you behave, what you say, and how you treat others. It's not only what you say about yourself, it's what others think and say about you based on how you behave and what you do. So if your brand is poised and professional, but you show up at a morning Zoom meeting before you've had a chance to comb your hair or rub the sleep out of your eyes, the impression you make on others in the meeting is not poised and professional. It's unprepared, or just woke up, or pajamas, really? That's your personal brand. That's your personal brand because that's what you sold yourself as when you turned on your camera. That's your personal brand no matter how polished and professional you were yesterday. What you sell today and every other day is your personal brand. Sell Yourself will show you how to build the right brand, and it will teach you how to sell it. I understood how important a personal brand was the minute that I realized if I didn't plan for one myself, live it every day, and sell it to others, others would assign one to me anyway. That is what they did, and I didn't like the one they chose. In fact, I learned a tough lesson about what can happen when you leave the work of creating your personal brand to chance. I was a few weeks away from graduating with a PhD in communications when a professor I respected and trusted pulled me aside and whispered, "Girls who look like you aren't supposed to be smart." I was taken aback. Was he referring to my blonde hair, to my free spirit, to my side job as an aerobics instructor, to all of the above? Yes. He wasn't trying to insult me. He was trying to show me that this might be a hurdle that I would very likely encounter throughout my life. In fact, he was very kindly trying to give me a heads up that I might need to oversell myself as a smart, capable, ethical researcher and student, starting when I defended my dissertation to the panel of brilliant academics who would decide in a few weeks whether I was ready to graduate. Sure, I'd heard all the dumb blonde jokes ever since I was a tow-headed kid, and I was well aware that women in general, regardless of their hair color, can attract the wrong kind of attention, often unwanted. It had happened to me before, even though I tended to dress in buttoned-up professional clothes. Yes, I'm blonde, but I'm not dumb. Never have been. I'm curious and resourceful. I've studied my whole life. I learn new skills whenever I can. There's a highly educated brain tucked under my long blonde curls. It's like Dolly Parton sings in her famous song, Dumb Blonde. Just because I'm blonde, don't think I'm dumb, 'cause this dumb blonde ain't nobody's fool. I know my professor was trying to help me understand an important life lesson. Other people sometimes see us differently from how we see ourselves. Still, his remarks stunned me. He was alerting me in a friendly way that my hard work as an undergraduate, a grad student, and now an accomplished researcher about to finish up a doctoral degree was competing with an age-old stereotype to define me. He was letting me know that others might be buying into those stereotypes, linking blonde hair to stupidity. Or they may wonder if I got a step ahead because I use my femininity to convince others to help me or even do my work for me. My kind professor was letting me know that some people believe girls, women, like me, do just that to succeed. It's how we're sometimes branded. That others might not see beyond the stereotype and recognize my dedication, worthiness, and talents. He was trying to help me understand that despite all the classes I took, I still had one more lesson to learn. I had to do something to change people's minds and destroy their assumptions. At that moment, I realized it was completely in my power to take control of how I'm perceived. As much as his words shook me in the moment, they led me to an epiphany. I'm leaving the impression I make on others to others. It's not anyone else's job to decide for me, through misguided assumptions or otherwise, what I'm all about. It's not anyone else's place to pigeonhole me into a brand that I haven't chosen or approved. But because I had never given any thought to branding myself back then, others around me, including those perfectly nice, competent professors and colleagues, did it for me. If they were basing their perception of me on the stereotypes my professor warned me about, they got it wrong. Dead wrong. That could have hurt my reputation. It could have held me back from accomplishing my goal of earning a doctorate and becoming a college professor. It could have followed me for a lifetime. I can't stop people from buying into bogus stereotypes, but I can at least try to stop them from believing I'm stereotypical. I realized in that dizzying moment that because I never gave any thought to how others might perceive me, right or wrong, I was leaving the choice up to them. In short, I was selling them on believing whatever they wanted instead of selling them on what I wanted them to believe about me. Sure, I was in a PhD program, a feat that doesn't happen without a good measure of dedication and intellect. But it's possible that if they bought into any part of that stereotype, that would be enough to make them question my abilities. I needed a better brand, one that I created on purpose, one that I could use to sell people, including the professors in that room. I wanted them to believe that I was smart, honest, and hardworking enough to earn my own credentials and successfully use them throughout my life and career. I needed a brand that people would buy into, despite the color of my hair. And I needed that brand right now. So I got to work on planning my personal brand, and then I learned how to sell it. Create, live, sell. Sell yourself will give you the skills you need to create a brand that you can sell, and then live your brand and sell your brand every day. Create, live, sell. That's my mantra when it comes to personal branding. My premise? A personal brand is useless unless you do three things. 1, devote time and thought to planning and creating a brand that you can live up to every day, and that will be easy to sell because it's authentically you. 2, live that brand every day. Everything you do and say leaves an impression on others. 3, sell your brand. Learn how to sell yourself at work, on job interviews, in your neighborhood, or on the phone with a stranger. Your personal brand is who you are, so it needs to be the sharpest tool in your toolbox when it comes time to sell you. Create, live, sell. The first step, create your brand, seems easier than it is, but because you are a complex, multifaceted person, your brand must also be complex and multifaceted. The second step, live your brand, is the one that many people assume comes automatically. It does not. It's hard work to live up to your brand every time you interact with someone, post something on social media, or shoot off a quick text after having a couple cocktails or getting some unfortunate news. And the third step, sell your brand, is the one that most people simply ignore, often because it never occurs to them that they need to sell their brand. They don't realize that if they fail to proactively sell their brand, others might not buy it. And even worse, others might buy something about them they never meant to sell at all. 3 steps: create, live, sell. Sell Yourself is the unique book that looks at personal branding through a lens of sales. It's short-sighted to create a brand, even a great one, if you're not going to sell it. That would be like plunking down a year's salary on your dream car, but never driving it. Sell Yourself is about how to sell your personal brand. That is, how to use your brand to help you succeed and get what you want at work and in life. Everyone talks about how important it is to sell yourself, but too many overlook the truly important word in that cliche: sell. Sell Yourself puts personal branding into the context of a sales tool, and then it teaches you how to sell. How Sell Yourself can help you. In the chapters that follow, you will learn how to sell your brand even if you never sold anything else. You'll learn that if you don't sell your brand, it will sell itself, and not necessarily in the way you intend. Girls who look like you aren't supposed to be smart. Not at all what I intended. By the time you finish listening to Sell Yourself, you too will believe that knowing how to sell like a pro and being willing to sell like a pro are the keys to selling yourself. You will understand the value of selling the personal brand that you've created for yourself. Your personal brand is like a big billboard that advertises the absolute best version of you. It lets others know who you are, where you're going, and what your superpowers are. As you sell yourself to bosses, interviewers, colleagues, new friends, life partners, or anyone else who is important to your success in life, your brand is the most important and influential tool in your sales kit. And yes, selling yourself is a sales job. Literally, when you sell yourself, you make a sale. Did you just say, ick? I know, sales, right? Cheesy, pushy, manipulative. You'd rather do anything but sell, I know. If you wanted to sell, after all, you'd look for a job as a sales rep for a big company and pocket those commissions, right? You don't like selling. You don't like to be sold. You don't want to have to sell anything, even yourself. I hear you. That's how I used to feel about sales too. I don't anymore because I've learned firsthand that sales can and should be a two-way street. A sale should benefit both the person who's selling and the person who might be buying. The sales process can and should be collaborative, honest, and helpful. It should result in a win-win. That's especially true when it comes to selling yourself by using your personal brand as a sales tool. To help you sell effectively, I'll share my 5-step process for selling your personal brand. It begins with a great plan and finishes with an abundance of gratitude. It's the same process that most successful sales professionals use every day to sell products and services, and it expands on the advice from my Wall Street Journal best-selling first book, Every Job is a Sales Job. Those friendly 5 steps are: 1. Plan. The more thought you put into your personal brand, the easier it will be to live it and sell it. In Sell Yourself, we'll dive into 2 types of plans. One, for creating the most authentic brand that will reap you the most success in life, and another for how to sell your brand. You'll learn how to use your personal brand to sell yourself in all sorts of situations, from a job interview to a request for a promotion or raise to a personal relationship. 2. Look for opportunities. If you keep your personal brand top of mind, it eventually will feel natural to use in any situation that involves an effort to get what you need or want. You can sell your personal brand whenever you see an opportunity that you want to go for. The keys to this step are to recognize the opportunities when they present themselves and to sell your personal brand every time. 3. Establish trust. In this step, you listen and observe. Making a sale, even of yourself, is easy when what you're selling will fill a need for the other person you're selling to. You can find out what your potential buyers need by listening to what they say and observing what they do. For example, if your personal brand is someone who goes the extra mile, and you learn that your boss needs someone to pitch in on a project over the weekend, pitch in. When you do, you will sell your brand to the very person who will decide whether to choose you for the next promotion that opens up. 4. Ask for what you want. This is the hardest step for most people. We're reluctant to ask for a raise or a promotion because we feel our good work should speak for itself. Or we're afraid if we ask, we'll get fired instead of promoted. Neither of those assumptions is valid. A sale rarely happens unless the salesperson comes right out and asks for it. You deserve to have what you want, need, and deserve. It's okay to give yourself permission to go after those things. So ask for them. 5. Follow up with gratitude. Gratitude should be a part of everyone's personal brand. Selling a brand of gratitude leaves anyone who helped you or even considered helping you with the knowledge that you don't take them, their time, and their effort for granted. In short, Sell Yourself revolves around 3 critical components of a successful personal brand. 1. Create your personal brand. Everyone has a personal brand, even those who say they don't. Those who have not deliberately crafted a personal brand are simply letting others assume what their brand is. Those assumptions are not always positive. 2. Live your personal brand. The best way to sell yourself is to thoughtfully and deliberately live the brand you've created day in and day out. 3. Sell your personal brand. Sell Yourself will teach you how to sell your personal brand like a pro using my 5-step sales process. Whether you're a seasoned sales pro or someone who does not sell for a living and doesn't want to, you can and do sell every day. So you might as well do it the right way. Sell Yourself will help you if you're young and eager to begin creating and selling your personal brand. You believed you already had adopted the perfect brand, but have found it isn't working for you, perhaps because you're not selling it. You're stuck at work or in life, and you're ready to move on, but your brand isn't getting you anywhere. You're inadvertently selling the wrong thing. Sell Yourself will prove equally valuable whether you are new to personal branding, you've experimented with personal branding, or you're at a juncture in life when your personal brand needs a serious makeover. Professional salespeople know the key to successful selling lies in the way they present themselves to others. That is, in the way they brand themselves and sell their brands. That's also the key to getting what you want, need, and deserve. I hope you'll enjoy the stories I tell in Sell Yourself about my own journey with personal branding and the examples I share about my clients and acquaintances who have let me help them create their personal brands. I hope my book will help you embrace the need to sell your brand, to sell you, and the value of selling like a real pro. Mostly, though, I hope Sell Yourself will lead you to the success you want in your life, both at work and personally. Part 1, Create. Chapter 1, Create, Live, Sell. Think of someone who's unforgettable. It might be a dear departed grandmother, a superstar where you work, or a best friend who's always there for you. It could be a star athlete, an inspiring author, or a celebrity who seems to do no wrong. What is it about that person that is so memorable? What comes to mind when someone mentions the person's name? Chances are good that it's something specific, something you can describe in just a couple of words. There's something the person does that is so consistent, it's like a trademark. It's something reliable, something you absolutely know about the person. Something you could describe using the word always, as in, she always makes me feel welcome, or he always looks sharp. A great example is Dolly Parton. She always looks the same. Big blonde hair and a bigger smile. Thin yet curvy, sparkly clothes, high-heeled shoes. She always acts the same, full of sass, funny, humble, mega talented. That look, that personality, that voice, they're her trademarks. They never change. You can count on them. She never wavers from them. Seriously, never. She's been quoted so many times saying she doesn't wash the makeup off her face before she goes to sleep in case she's jolted out of bed and onto the street by a fire or another emergency. She doesn't want the firefighters or onlookers to catch even a glimpse of her naked from the neck up without her heavy makeup or teased blonde wig. Dolly Parton wouldn't be Dolly Parton without that heavy makeup and a teased blonde wig. She knows it. You will never, ever see her look like anything but the Dolly Parton you think you know. You can count on that. She lives that look. She lives that trademark. It's her signature. It's her personal brand. It's not something she created so she could describe herself that way to others. It's not an image she created just for marketing posters and album covers and concerts. It is quite literally who she is, day in and day out. Yes, Dolly Parton is indeed her own creation. And every day since she decided to present Dolly Parton to the world with a signature look and personality as unmistakable as her Grammy-winning soprano, she has lived that creation. And she has sold that version of Dolly Parton to the world to the tune of $600 million, her net worth in 2021. What have you created for yourself? What do people say that you always do or always present yourself as? What is your signature, your trademark? What are you selling about yourself to others? In short, what is your personal brand? Dolly Parton's personal brand is one of the most successful in the world because she has done three things with it. She created it with intention. She lives it consistently. She uses it to sell herself to the public. Create, live, sell. One without the others is not a powerful personal brand. If you create a brand but do not live it, you've got a slogan or a wish, not a brand. If you create a brand and don't use it to sell yourself, you've got little more than a to-do list whose items you've never checked off. And if you're living a brand that you have not thoughtfully created, focused, honed, and tested, you really don't know what you're selling, do you? Combining three personal branding actions, create, live, sell, will make you unforgettable. It will make your brand unmistakable, so nobody will assume that you're something you don't intend to be. It will make you more successful at work and in life because it will help you present yourself as the person you want others to see and know. Create. Like all things in life, your personal brand will be more successful, and so will you, if you spend time planning it. Think about the last project you did at work that turned out exactly as you wanted. Did you dive in head first without considering how much time it would take you, when you would find the time, who might be able to help you, whether you had a budget for it, and what your boss's vision was for it? Nope. When we start anything without a good plan, we tend to flounder. We thrash around trying this and that until something works. Where I come from, we call that throwing spaghetti at the wall and seeing what sticks. Throwing spaghetti at the wall is a big waste of time. Writing a term paper without first doing the research is going to take you twice as long as one that you started after you gathered your information, made an outline, cleared your schedule. Going to the grocery store without making a meal plan for the week and writing down a list of needed ingredients means you'll have to make extra trips to the market every time you start cooking. Hopping on a plane to Europe without planning your trip will very likely leave you unable to enjoy the shows, restaurants, and hotels that are already booked up by travelers with the good sense to make reservations months in advance. The same goes for your personal brand. You can't wing it. You have to plan your brand. You have to intentionally create your brand, or it might not stick. Even worse, others might assume your brand is something entirely different from what you think it is, and that might stick. Then you'll have to spend your time undoing the damage, and it's my hope that you will hunker down and do the work of creating a brand that you can live every day and that you can use to sell yourself in the precise manner that will get you exactly what you want, need, and deserve. When you take the time to create a personal brand that reflects who you truly are and who you intend to become, you take control of your own story. When you give serious thought to how you want others to think about you, experience you, talk about you, and remember you, you control the narrative. You leave your reputation up to you, not to others. Just as importantly, creating a thoughtful, deliberate brand will become a roadmap for your behavior and choices, from the company you keep, to what you say to whom, to the way you dress and present yourself in every situation. If you think deeply enough about the brand you create, it will stop you from doing, saying, or engaging in things that could lead people to think about you in a light other than the one you want to shine on yourself. Like Dolly Parton, you can become your own creation. If you're satisfied with yourself as you are, a well-planned personal brand can help you stay the course as you consistently show up as authentic and comfortable in your own skin. If you'd like to stretch into a territory that's somewhat unfamiliar, careful planning can result in a brand that shows others you belong there. If you want to completely turn the boat around and go in a new direction, you'll first need to consider how to do that, whether you can pull it off, and what changes or sacrifices it will require. You might believe it's unnecessary to carefully create a personal brand that shows the world your absolute best. You can simply show the world your absolute best without a plan, right? Sure, sometimes. But if you want to achieve your goals, random won't get you there. Neither will inconsistency, uncertainty, or luck. Just ask Dolly. Live. How many prized possessions do you ignore because they're tucked away on a shelf or in a cabinet or even out of sight in a closet? Maybe you're happy to own them and having them is enough. They don't really do anything for you except perhaps make you smile every now and then when you pull them off the shelf to dust them or show them off to visitors. They don't have any useful purpose. They don't get you anything. If you go to the trouble to create a personal brand but you don't use it, on the other hand, having it is most definitely not enough. If you make the effort to curate and craft a brand but you don't follow through on it, do you really have a brand? Or at least, do you really have the brand that you took the trouble to create? You can dust your brand off and reread the rationale that went into it, and it might rev you up for a while. You can show off your brand by telling others what it is. You can know that you created a brand and all the facets that are part of it. You can write your brand down and keep it in a safe place. But that kind of brand doesn't have any useful purpose. It doesn't help you reach your goals. Creating a brand with no intention of incorporating it into your everyday life, of living it, is a futile exercise and a waste of time. What if Dolly Parton had created a brand of a flashy country singer with mile-high bleached blonde hair, recognizable to everyone in the world with just a glance, but then chopped off her long locks, became a brunette, dressed in baggy blue jeans, and skipped the makeup except for when she was on stage? Her brand would be plain, just for show, and rumpled. What if you created a brand of energetic, polished professional, but wore tattered sneakers to the office and barely spoke up in staff meetings except for days when the CEO was scheduled to meet with your team? Your brand would be passive, kiss up, unprofessional. No brand, no matter how well planned, is your brand until you live it every day. You can't write a brand down on a piece of paper or tell others what your brand is or label yourself with branding words and expect everyone to believe any of it if that's all you do. In other words, creating a personal brand doesn't finish the job. Creating the brand is only level 1 of the 3-tiered branding process. Create, live, sell. Creating a brand but not living it is like writing out invitations for a dinner party, planning the menu, researching the recipes, buying the ingredients, and taking the day off from work to prepare, but never sending the invitations or cooking the meal. It's like planting a tree but never watering it, writing a book but never showing the manuscript, registering for classes but never going to campus or even logging in. You might get a smidgen of benefit from each of those exercises, but you won't get the lush umbrella of shade on a hot day or your name on the cover of a bestseller or a diploma. The plan won't execute itself. The intention alone won't put your best foot forward. And the creation of a personal brand doesn't mean that's your brand. Not unless you follow through. Not unless you bring it to life.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?